Hi, I'm Adrian Atkinson and this is Jamaica Magazine. Coming up, a spread on justice for all, what the government is doing and how you can play your part for a fair and a just society. Stay with us.
Want to know the law pertaining to renting a house? What about the procedure if you're arrested? Or what is defined as corruption? Then click on the Ministry of Justice website. It has information on every law passed in Jamaica. The House of Parliament portal also has the more recent year's pieces of legislation. The sites are easy to search and the files are downloadable. Make access to justice your business. Know your rights. Good day, I'm Lorraine Mendez and this is your JIS News for Tuesday, March 13. The Ministry of Education is reiterating that schools should not be closed without its prior approval. The warning comes as teachers across the island called in sick for the second day in protest of government's wage offer for a 16% increase over 4 years. On Monday, the ministry reported that 75 of the 466 schools checked only had classes in the morning, while others remained open until the end of the normal school day. By our checks, at most schools, classes were limited or not held as teachers stayed home. The Education Ministry says it has received reports of some teachers and principals telling students that there would be no school on Tuesday, while our information suggests that the industrial action will continue into Wednesday. In response, the Education Ministry is asserting that any such closures would be in breach of its instructions. At the same time, the ministry today deployed additional personnel to support the schools. This support includes regional response teams comprising officers from the ministry, select tertiary institutions, secondary school student bodies, and the National Parent Teachers Association. Finance Minister Audley Shaw says government is on track to close the 2017-18 fiscal year with a national debt-to-GDP ratio of 105%. Minister Shaw says the figure is now below 111%, coming from a high of 147% in 2012-2013. While opening the budget debate on Thursday, the finance minister said the reduction partly resulted from government's adoption of the IMF's definition of public debt. The program, he insisted, would yield massive reduction in years to come.
We are well on track to bring the ratio down to at least 60% of GDP by the year 25-26 fiscal year. We remain disciplined in our debt reduction strategy, and we have kept our commitment in that regard.
According to Minister Shaw, government was also able to lower the cost of its national debt in the local market, with GOJ Treasury bills yielding 3.6% in February.
In January of this year, we auctioned $23 billion in 3-year Treasury bills that resulted in an average yield of just 5.3%. And this included bids as low as 3.2%.
The distribution of 15 kilometers of pole line extensions and wiring of 870 houses will be completed within the 2018-19 fiscal year by National Energy Solutions Limited, NESOL. $656 million has been set aside to carry out the work. NESOL will also provide rural householders with affordable access to electricity and renewable energy solutions. It will also provide electrical engineering services to government and private sector entities and assist in the government's energy conservation activities. The money will also allow the Electricity Division to conduct 35,000 inspections throughout the year to ensure all electrical safety standards are being met. Meanwhile, 15 schools will get the help needed to manage their energy consumption. The schools are participating in the Jamaica Public Service Foundation Energy Club.
I want you to use this opportunity not only to be part of a club to satisfy your extracurricular requirement, but more importantly to be ambassadors of change. Because you are the ones that will influence the future of this country.
Dr. Wheatley said the JPS Foundation's initiative was in line with the government's drive to raise the level of awareness about energy efficiency and conservation among young persons. And finally, policemen and women trained to handle domestic violence cases are urged to become ambassadors for ending incidents in the society. The call comes from National Security State Minister Pernell Charles Jr. He was speaking at the conclusion of a domestic violence training session on Thursday.
This training is the start. It must serve as a catalyst for us to continue the discussion. I expect to see you in your churches. I expect to see you in your children's schools. I expect to see you at the community centers. I expect to see you teaching JDF and DCS and other members from the fire brigade, because this is not a police issue. It's a Jamaica issue.
The state minister says the culture of accepting domestic violence must end, as it contributes to other problems in the society.
If we're able to do so, I'm telling you, we will not only reduce our murder rate, which happens to be the indicator for all people in this country, but we will reduce those roots, the causes of the violence and the crime.
Through the training, the JCF is aiming to have a point person in each police station who is able to interrupt domestic violence incidents at the community level. And that's it for JIS News today. I'm Lorraine Mendez. Thanks for watching.
Yo, if I win, I look at work and can't get one.
Eh? You want to look work?
Yeah. But you don't have to pick up something since we get locked up a ganja.
So, you never know, so could I get a record clear?
Huh?
Yeah. I was arrested for ganja too, you know.
You?
Yeah. I heard on the news that I could expunge my record. I went there and I fly free. But I realized that they mathematically do it.
I never know that.
Yeah. But the thing is that it has to be a minor ganja offense. Like having 2 ounces or less.
Yeah, I never got apply for mine then, man.
Automatic expungement is available for past convictions for smoking ganja, possession of pipes or other utensils, and for the possession of ganja where the fine is no more than $1,000. To apply for a police certificate, you may visit one of the following locations: the Criminal Records Office, 34 Duke Street, Kingston; the Summit Police Station in St. James; Maypen Police Station in Clarendon; Area 2 Police Headquarters in St. Mary; and Pompano Bay Police Station in St. Mary.
The Ministry of Justice is adamant that there must be timely dispensation of court cases. Fresh resources are being pumped into the justice system in the 2018-2019 legislative year to clear backlogs and resolve more cases with better outcomes.
The Ministry of Justice is getting a $9.6 billion spend in its estimated allocation for the 2018-2019 financial year. A substantial portion, $3.7 billion, goes to the nation's courts to ensure the judicial process is efficient, timely, fair, and modernized. Also included in the overall estimates are $1.3 billion to undertake government-funded capital projects and over $555 million for other programs funded by Jamaica's multilateral and bilateral partners.
We have to find ways and means to make justice a priority, easily accessible and readily delivered in a timely manner. With our crime problem, swift and predictable justice can be the most powerful deterrent to crime.
The ministry understands that delivering timely justice means investing in the infrastructure. So 3 major projects will be implemented with money from the Consolidated Fund. $99.6 million will be spent to purchase 8 vehicles for judges and 2 mobile witness rooms. To continue the rehabilitation and upgrading of Public Building East in downtown Kingston, $267 million is allocated. And 4 more justice centers are to be established in the 2018-2019 fiscal year to increase accessibility of services associated with policies targeting justice reform. Also, from the same allocation, Spanish Town will receive a family court. Jamaica's bilateral and multilateral partners are helping to improve justice delivery in the new financial year through 3 projects totaling $555 million. Global Affairs Canada will provide $81 million to continue the Justice Undertakings for Social Transformation JUST project. Started in 2011 and extended to 2020, this year's targets include developing a monitoring and evaluation framework for the justice sector and training personnel in justice reform planning. Performance management systems will also be introduced within the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution. The rules and procedures for parish courts will be reviewed and amended, and rules and procedures for the courts of petty session will be developed. Meanwhile, the Justice, Security, Accountability and Transparency JSAT project will supply and install hardware in select courts and implement an electronic case management system in the courts. JSAT is being funded by the European Union to the tune of $203 million. The other multilateral project is the Citizen Security and Justice Program Phase 3. The funding agencies, along with the government, are Global Affairs Canada, the Inter-American Development Bank, and the Department for International Development. The project seeks to enhance gender-responsive justice services in target communities.
We need a justice system that completes cases and delivers decisions with due expedition. Speedy court decisions can have significant and needed economic benefits.
The Ministry of Justice, making more resources available to the judiciary while embarking on programs to achieve a balanced national legal framework, equitable and efficient dispensation of justice, and promoting respect for all rights and freedoms during the 2018-2019 fiscal year.
When I look in the mirror, sadness looks back at me. Will my life go carelessly?
But even with the sadness and fear, the word of peace I will share.
I choose peace. I choose to live violence-free.
Next, we talk community justice. Watch and see how at the grassroots level, each citizen may help to create peace in their neighborhood.
This is community justice. Residents who are standing up for peace and just actions, reclaiming Jamaica land we love.
The decent, law-abiding citizens of our country must now be more proactive and seek ways and means to overcome those who want to destroy Jamaica. Goodness must triumph over evil.
It's not a one-citizen thing, and it's not just a town thing. The Ministry of Justice is rallying the masses from country to town.
Creating a national movement of decent and upright people to take back Jamaica and to return discipline and respect for the rule of law in this country.
Using a series of public sensitization sessions, the ministry is seeking to bring together peace monitors or justice leaders. Pastors, doctors, custodians, lawyers, teachers, and other positive community members are being trained in justice programs such as child abuse, domestic violence, human trafficking, mediation, restorative justice, and legal aid. Professionals within the justice system are on hand at the sessions, equipped to answer questions.
Victims who have been sexually abused, and I speak to the evidence. A young miss, she is impregnated by an adult, and the man leaves the area. This is in relation to soca. The man leaves the area when it's hot, and a year after, he's back in the area. What's the follow-up?
As it relates to teenage pregnancy, or persons who got pregnant below the age of 16, we don't just investigate and leave things hanging. We follow up. So if the person left the community, we're still after him. We try to find out where he is. If he comes back to the community, we go, we get him, we put him before the court.
Armed now with the knowledge of truth and justice, the community members will now help other citizens access justice services, resolve conflicts, and be productive members of society.
We're sending a signal to the Jamaican people, and in particular, all law-abiding and decent citizens of this country, to join us in the work that we are doing to safeguard the future of our country as we move towards a just, safe, and secure Jamaica.
I think the sensitization sessions, it's a great initiative of the Ministry of Justice. I think it teaches us now as citizens to have a greater responsibility, and it has opened our awareness. There are several activities that you can access through several services through the Justice Ministry. So it's not only limited to human trafficking. We have learned today of victim services. We have learned about legal aid services in addition to restorative justice. And key as well is that we have to access those who do not have access. So we now have to go into those remote locations. So it's not only to those internet users or social media, in other words, but it is just a great responsibility. I love the initiative, and it just makes you feel good to be a part of this great effort.
The project is being carried out through the Justice Undertakings for Social Transformation program. Already more than 200 persons have been trained. By year end, over 2,000 persons will be on the program. Peace, civility, good order, and improved behavior in communities will be the fruits of this program.
This helps the problem from reaching to the court, where it takes a lot of time and a lot of pile-up that is being done today.
I think it's very good. It's commendable on the part of the ministry to have done this. Based organizations would be the best avenue to reach the population and to have people committing in their own space, in their own community, persons who are familiar with the situation and the culture and are willing to serve.
Justice, truth be ours forever cannot be achieved without community members.
European Union is committed to promoting and protecting human rights of all people, because we believe that respect for human rights is essential for stable democracies and sustainable development, including economic betterment. This commitment underpins all we do in Jamaica and countries where we work. This is why we continue to support justice sector in Jamaica.
Jamaica has enjoyed a strong and long-standing relationship with the European Union, the EU. It all began more than 40 years ago when diplomatic relations was established. Jamaica engages with the EU individually as well as through its status as a member of the African, Caribbean and Pacific ACP group. There have been many areas of support and partnership over the years, including in justice. Most recently, the EU gave government $3.3 billion to support its justice reform program.
It is also the single largest budgetary commitment to justice reform in Jamaica or anywhere else in the world where the EU provides support.
The money has been allocated under the justice component of the 11th European Development Fund, EDF. $3 billion of the grant is earmarked for budgetary support, while the EU will administer the remaining $275.4 million. Half of that amount will fund technical assistance interventions, and the remainder will allow civil society organizations to support access to justice with an emphasis on vulnerable groups.
I certainly want to thank Ambassador MW for the tremendous participation of the European Union and her grant this time. Let me tell you, Ambassador, we are going to give you value for your money.
This funding is more than half of government's budget requirement to advance the justice reform program up to the year 2020.
And certainly, Ambassador, over the next few months, you'll be very busy, because we'll be inviting you around the different parishes to open justice centers. Every parish will have a justice center.
Jamaica now stands on the cusp of a watershed year in the justice system, with several projects set to be undertaken as a result of this allocation. These will include the rollout of audio, video, and transcription technologies in the courts island-wide, a Know Your Rights public awareness campaign, and expansion of the restorative justice program in 1,000 schools, with the assignment of at least 3 trained and certified restorative justice facilitators in each institution. A restorative justice office will also be established in each parish to coordinate school and community programs and provide support to local courts. Other targets include a recruitment drive for justices of the peace, strengthening of the Justice Training Institute's capacity to plan and execute training programs, and an intensive training program for 10 selected NGOs to improve their operational effectiveness and service delivery to target populations. The activities are expected to enhance the justice system's efficiency and facilitate greater access at the community level, streamline restorative justice interventions, treat with children in conflict with the law in accordance with international conventions, and reduce the backlog of court cases. This is an example of the EU's ongoing tangible and substantial support to Jamaica. The European Union's provision to the justice sector makes a substantial difference to the pace and success of the country's development.
So we're not here just to provide funding, but we're here to share experiences and to learn from you how we can better assist you, but how we can also be better at the work that we do inside our own countries.
Understand you might not always agree, but you can respect somebody else's view.
Respect my lad. Respect my dad. Yeah, man, respect.
It doesn't take anything to be respectful. And you can never tell the impact you will have just by saying, good morning, please, thank you.
Respect. Coming up, we hear from a few men who are on a mission to end the violence. Take a look.
I was like a rebellion against the system, but that never was the way, Virgin.
I was convicted and sent to prison. Spent 14 years on death row, only see 5 minutes of sunlight each day for 14 years. I was taken to the gallows and was supposed to be hung. Twice they built coffin for me and twice they dig hole. But God knows best.
Men who have made wrong choices in their past.
These are men who were either incarcerated or persons who were informal enforcers, as we say in Jamaica. These were persons who had no regard for law and order, who have actually, by whatever means possible, by whatever stimuli, have actually decided that they don't want that life anymore. They want to actually be positive role models in society.
Now they are sharing their experiences with the determination of reaching out to the youths and even their peers to not make the same mistakes they did. And by so doing, they are helping to restore and preserve the society's value system, thus securing the rock with their message.
Changetown youths, top up love, delete violence. Things take time to do if you take time to do it. Changetown youths, focus, take life serious.
We are trying to help them to realize that crime and violence is not something that is good. It's something that will destroy the society and the entire family. And once the family is destroyed, then the society will be destroyed.
Men with a Message is an initiative out of the Citizen Security and Justice Program, CSJP. The group, which consists of 10 men, was identified by CSJP's community action officers from among the program's many participants. Having received vocational and skills training, placed in jobs, and managed to maintain clean police records for at least 2 years, the young men successfully navigated the interview process and were made ready for their mission. Armed with a different attitude, these men are now fighting against the same plague that once struck them: crime, violence, and lack of education.
To live a better life and to act in a better manner, education is the surest guarantee for a better life. You can't constantly do something when not giving you a good result. That's madness. That was how I define badness. So who I run down badness and madness. Because I was in it, so now listen keenly. So any man out there come for you, so I go to the eye there, all them can get to know.
It is reported that young men between the ages of 15 and 25 are most vulnerable to criminal activities. So, as part of the CSJP's initiatives within volatile communities, men with a message have been going into youth clubs and schools through the Safe Schools program to deliver their message of transformation.
I definitely want these youngsters to understand that crime on a whole is not something that they should want to indulge in. We know we cannot totally eliminate crime and violence from the society, but at least we can help to minimize it to a tolerable level.
Principals have actually reported that after Men with a Message have come and spoken to the students, delinquent students have actually been the ones now to curb the other students. There have actually been cases where students have been collecting knives from other students as a result of Men with a Message coming and speaking to them.
It doesn't have to be that we have gunmen around and so on, but it has to be that they understand that when they become men themselves, they have to become men of standard, men of worth, men of value. And that is what our society needs. And so many of these boys lack seeing men who are role models in this way.
I would like to see from this program youth getting the benefit that I know is there, because I am also a recipient of the program.
The common good of the society of Jamaica, which should always be the new name of justice, cannot be achieved by means of violence, because violence destroys what we intend to create.
These may seem like just words, but not to these men. With the CSJP operating in 50 communities, the men are spreading their message that change is possible and that the cycle of violence and underachievement from the inner city can be broken. And they are also living testimonies that the CSJP's programs actually work.
Jamaica, join with us to secure the rock. Top up love, delete violence. Jamaica youths, blessed love.
I'm on the rise, I'm on the rise. Higher than I and higher than I.
This is where the page is closed for today. You may watch our features anytime at your leisure. Just click on our website or YouTube channel. Our social media sites also have loads of information which you can find useful. Join us again tomorrow on this station when we'll explore other educational programs. Until then, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.